Hey guys, it's Does It Matter?
The dream.
And this is episode 11 of our podcast, Confessions of a Stand Mixer Edition. Today we are going to be talking about Little Mix lyrics. And let me see if I can find my notes because I've lost them in the 2 seconds that we've started. So we are going to be going over iconic or classic lyrics that we have. Then we're going to be talking about some of the ones that really resonate with us. And then we're also just going to talk about some that we really like and that, are well written or that, just catch our eye or, whatever it is. It's just lyrics that stand out to us in some way.
Also, these are also all of our opinions, so even if you might not think they're as good as some of the other ones, these are just ones that we like, just in case anyone
Yeah.
gets that impression.
Okay, to start us off, we are going to start with some of the lyrics that resonate with us personally. We just to let you guys know, we did not go through every single song Little Mix has ever created. When we did this, we picked things that came to mind from some of our favorite songs that we remember sticking with us from when we first listened to them, all that type of stuff. So if one of your favorites isn't on here, we don't talk about it or anything like that, just know that we did not scour the depths of all of Little Mix history in order to get every single lyric that could have been included. We just went with the ones that um, were most relevant to us, that came to mind, that were most notable, and all of that stuff. So basically, I just spent a lot of time talking around the fact that uh, this is not an all encompassing list.
Yeah.
For any regular listeners of the podcast, it'll be no surprise to you the first lyric I'm going to want to talk about, which is the No More Sad Songs original bridge sung by Jesse. And for me personally, it's the whole thing. Sometimes some of the lyrics are just like a couple lines out of a verse or something, but for me, the whole bridge is a winner. So for anyone who does not have the lyrics in front of them like we do, I'll go ahead and just read it for you guys really quick. It's going home, take the long way around, lights past, sit back with the windows down, still got you on my mind, starting to realize no matter what I do, it will only hurt myself trying to hurt you. And if I turn the music loud just to drown you out. For me, this really resonates because there were a lot of times, when it have those like melancholy, sad music video moments,
Oh,
you know?
yes.
Yes. So it reminds me kind of one of those. Not quite as like when you're aware of it, but like there were a lot of times in my life that I remember feeling really trapped in different situations and not really sure how to get out or how to make them better. Uh, and for a while, like I was doing things that ultimately, like, without realizing it, I was ultimately doing things that probably were hurting myself more than I was really making any difference on the other person. Uh, so anyway, yeah, so it just kind of like takes me back to different times in my life when I listen to it. Um, and not always the same time in my life, just different periods, but that like scene like just reminds me of those moments, like those little like music video moments per se.
Yeah, that song is like it too because that song is such like a high energy song, and then you hear like that, and you're just like, just take a minute. So my first one is that we're living on borrowed time from Pretend It's Okay. And I'm pretty sure that's Jade's verse. I have to double check. That one I didn't check. Um
So sorry, guys. I said Jesse sang it and I set us both up, but I really set me up because I'm not going to know that for the rest of mine. So sorry.
yeah, that lyric is just I'm not really sure when it hit me because I'd heard the song a few times before I really heard that lyric, but that lyric is what made me really like the song and kind of see what it was about because before it was just one of those songs that I kind of skipped through. Um
Remind me what song it belongs to.
Pretend It's Okay.
Pretend It's Okay. Okay, that's what I thought. For some reason, I was imagining "Turn Your Face" in my head, and I was like playing the song in my head, and I was like, "It's not there."
The songs are very similar though. um, yeah, that lyric just because it is true. Like you are kind of living on the time that you have, and so that lyric just kind of made me think about things more than I usually do. Pretty much.
Yeah, it doesn't personally like resonate for me, but so the way I define resonate, guys, for the purpose of this like little activity that we're doing is is that I picked the lyrics that when I first listened to them, or not even first, but at some point when I was listening to them, that really like hit like something inside of me went like, oh, um, so those are the lyrics I picked. So I that didn't happen to me with that lyric, but I do really like that lyric. So it's not on my list, but I wanted to express my appreciation because I do also think it's a good one. Next up, I have wow, I really started with the sad ones. Okay.
Same.
Um, so I guess that means, guys, we're gonna get happier at some point. Um,
Maybe.
so I have the next one I have is from Love Me or Leave Me. It's definitely Jesse's part, potentially also Jade's, I think. Nitz used to tell me that you love me once. What happened? What happened? Where is all of this coming from? What happened? What happened? You say I'm crazy and there's nothing wrong. You're lying and you know I know. Baby, what have we become? What happened? Clearly, I did it just as well as Jesse did. But uh, yeah, so the song is actually about a relationship, but for me personally, the part that resonates the most about it is the line that's about gaslighting. That you say I'm crazy and there's nothing wrong, you're lying and you know I know. For me, like that relates more heavily to different relationships in my life that aren't romantic. And there's a lot of aspects of the song that relate to that situation that I'm thinking of. So for me, that's like why that one hits home so hard.
I almost had that same exact lyric, but I chose a different part for a different category. But I was like this close to using it for pretty much a similar reason. So my next one is from Clued Up, and it's Leanne's line where she sings, "They told me no, keep my dreams on the low, told me I'd never win." That is one that really hit me because, just like a small reference, my family is pretty much kind of like that. Um, and so were a lot of people in my life. So that's something that I deal with a lot, with people telling me, like, no, don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do whatever. So that's one that every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, yep, here we go again.
I always like half relate to that one. Because for me, it wasn't so much that people told me no as I mean, I'm pretty sure they did it. I think I ignored it. But for me, it was that I kept like, I got like ignored. Like people didn't believe I was going to do what I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
Uh, by the way, for anyone who needs some karma in their life, I was right. I did. And, uh, and so for me, it wasn't really that someone was like saying no to me so much as I was like, I'm doing this. And they're like, uh huh, yep, okay. So I always half relate to that one.
Yeah, because a lot of it too is like my whole where I'm going to be moving soon, and there are a lot of the comments are, "Oh, well, you're not going to do that. You're not going to move out by yourself. You barely do this and this." But or move out like this far away. Yeah, so that is a lyric that I think about a lot just because it's something that gets brought up in my family a lot. So it's something I deal with pretty often.
So the next one I have on my list is from Clued Up, and I'm pretty sure it's Jadesy's lines. And they're work myself up, let the nerves take over. How I feel isn't what you see. I need control, don't know how to let it go. I need to learn to let it be. I'm pretty sure our episode about who we relate to has already come out at this point. So y'all already know that I have anxiety. And uh, I'm also quite a bit of a control freak. So this lyrics just kind of sums up some of that. Not all of it, but some of it.
Yeah, I also relate to that lyric a lot. I just didn't choose to put it in because I already had so much from that song already. Because my next one is from Put Up Again. And it is the lyric, "Tear me down, wanna see me drown, like being happy is such a sin," which I believe Perry sings. And that line is also kind of similar to what I had said before about the last one. This one being more in terms of my career path because my career path isn't something that a lot of people in my family agree with because they're more on like the you should be a doctor, you should be a whatever lawyer, and I am not interested in that. So I am shifting more towards like the arts, and so that's another just another lyric that fits my life.
Yeah, I didn't put that lyric on mine, just because that's not, quite one that I it's not really one that, like, hits home for me personally, but I do like, the lyric does hit, if that makes sense. So, I actually have it, on a different list, later on, but I do really like that lyric. Let's see. Next up, I have on my list these four walls, and it's Jade's part. And it's, I feel so numb staring at the shower wall. It's begun the feeling that the end has come, and now the water's cold. I tried to eat today, but the lump in my throat got in the way. And I included that one for me because, well, I don't really relate to these four walls as a whole, like as a song on its whole. The like that moment of, like, being in the shower, like, just numb and, like, standing there way too long, and I relate it more to, my depression, and so that's why that lyric hits home for me.
My next one is "Gotta Do What You Want, If They Loved Her They Don't" in Strip, and that's just another one where this is like the end of the story. My last two have been like the story of my life and that, and now this one is now the ending where you just got to do it whether it makes other people happy or not. And that's pretty much what I'm currently doing. So I felt that a lot when this song came out.
Okay, so my next one is Good Enough. It's the Am I still not good enough? Am I still not worth that much? I'm sorry for the way my life turned out. Sorry for the smile I'm wearing now. Guess I'm still not good enough. I feel like that one's kind of self-explanatory, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You know, like just I've had some self-worth rough relationships, uh, and all types of relationships, and that just wear and tear, uh, at your self-worth. So, anyway, that is that one.
yeah. I have the same one next, and yeah, it's pretty much just like I have specifically the "sorry for the way my life turned out" part because it once again goes in the story that I'm apparently building over here. Um, and it's just like, you can't, this is something that I've heard a lot just from being in a dance world is that you can't hold back because of other people. Um, and so I kind of relate that to that because you can't feel guilty for being successful. So that's kind of what I think of when I hear that part.
So, in the theme of or I don't even know what to say, guys. This has been a rough podcast to record. I don't know how much of that you've heard, but it's been rough. And so basically, she's being pretty open with her explanations, and I, for some reason, am just haven't been doing that. So in honor and theme in something of that, I'm gonna go back to my good enough lyric and expand a little bit more. Basically, for me, it has to. That song is about my family, and specifically, my dad and my brothers, who really made me feel like a lot of self worth issues connected to my relationships with them. And the line you were talking about, like, I'm sorry for the way my life turned out, that's kind of how it's not exactly where I am right now, but it hits home to, how I've been feeling the last few years. which is like, you know, you kept kind of blowing off everything I ever said I wanted in my life and that I was going to do, uh and I did it, and I left you in the dust, and which I did not mean to just reference an earlier lyric in the song. And and you know, so like just kind of that little like that double-handed lyric of like sorry for the smile I'm wearing now, like my life turned out, you know, I'm where I want to be at this point in my life for the most part, and I'm doing what I said I'd be doing, and I'm not stuck where I didn't want to be. My family was There was a lot of pressure in my family to stay in my hometown to work at our family business, to take care of my father, to um, no one in my immediate family um, had ever left the state, like, or even like the surrounding area, like the states. I grew up on the Northeast, guys, East Coast. So um, no one in my family had even really left the state, or, you know, maximum the surrounding states. So for me to up and move to the West Coast, to go to college out of state, to um, completely be like, yeah, I'm not doing any of that family business drama stuff. Like, by was quite the struggle to do way back when, and so that lyric is kind of what that reminds me of. All right, now finally getting to strip is I have two right now from strip, but I have other parts of it that we'll talk about later. And then the two I have right now are up in the mirror, like, oh yeah, I love my figure, like, oh yeah, when I'm slimmer, I'm thick, like, oh yeah. It sounds not quite as great, A, read by me, and B, written down. um, but like when you're listening to it and Jesse sings that bit of the song, like I always find myself like really kind of like, yeah, okay, I can do that with her. Like I can feel that way. Like when I listen to her say that, that's why that one is there. And the next one I have is Jiggle All This Weight. Yeah, you know, I love all of this. Finally lift me naked, sexiest when I'm confident. The real part of that line that I'm focused on is the jiggle all this weight. I feel like for me, for some reason, there was still this like negative connotation associated with the word jiggle. And so when I first heard the song, I kind of cringed away from the lyric because I was like, oh, jiggle, jiggle all this weight, which was just some like internalized like body image issues that I had as if I'm completely over it. Probably still have, who knows? And but like the more I listened to the song, and then the video came out, and I was kind of like, actually that's kind of like really an empowering thing. Like, yeah, like it moves, like get over it. And yeah, so anyway, so that's why it's on the list.
It's just such an inspiring song. Like I could have the whole song on here.
I wish I didn't want to skip it all the time.
Yeah, which we discussed, if you all remember.
Yes, we discussed it in our LM5 album rankings. So if you haven't heard that, go listen to us try to defend why we want to skip strip.
Self promo.
Also, can I just get a moment of recognition that I didn't screw that up? Thank you, thank you. Guys, the amount of things I have not been able to say today, the fact that I just said skip strip the first time was amazing.
Yeah. So this next one is kind of switching it up a little bit. It's not a sad one like the ones that I've said before. It's a little bit happier, and it is from Love Will Go Right, where Jade and I'm pretty sure Jesse also says, "But if I ever hear you mess this up, I'm coming after you." This relates back, which I'm pretty sure I mentioned before, to the fun story I have behind the song, without like saying it since it wasn't my relationship. Basically, I kind of messed some stuff up, if you can tell. um yeah, so this song is just, or this lyric is just something that reminds me of that fun story that I have. And yeah, it's just, I wish I could say the story, but I don't have permission, so I'm not going to say it. Maybe sometime in the future I'll tell the tale, but it's just with context, it is a really funny lyric.
The sound you guys can hear in the back is her dog walking around.
Oh yeah, sorry. I forgot you can
It's
hear
fine.
that.
I mean, at this rate, there's no way we're getting clean audio. So
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm really trying. It's just not going
we're both
well.
really trying today. It's just maybe not happening
It's
as
one of
well as
those
we'd like it
days.
to. Yeah, bear with us, guys. Bear with us. My next one is from More Than Words. It's just the oh, I need you more than words can say. You save me in ways that I can't explain. Always been there for me. Now I'll do the same. I need you more than words can say. This little part actually reminds me of another song, and that other song reminds me of my best friend. So it's kind of like a weird little train to follow there. The other song it reminds me of, in case anyone wants to go check it out, is the song Breathe by Oof. Let me look it up because I don't know the artist's name. It's a artist whose name I will screw up if I attempt to pronounce. So I'm gonna spell it for you guys. It's Djamila. And the song is Breathe. And uh, I came across that song a number of years ago when I was actually like super, super depressed. And I was starting to be like a tad bit more functioning. And that song reminds me of my best friend. And then More Than Words, this part of More Than Words, I should say, reminds me of that song. So, in like a weird way, the lyrics just make me think of my best friend.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I should be looking up the other song's lyrics in order to make that make sense. Yeah, I'm just gonna read you guys the first verse and pre-chorus, and I think that'll sum everything up. So the other song I was talking about, "Breathe," is I was sinking into darkness deeper than a deep blue sea with nothing that I want to lean on, thinking I was going crazy. Everybody else around me could tell that I was going down. It was hard, but you stuck around. You were my deep sea diver. You kind of saved my life. You came and lifted me higher above the waves so I could. And then the chorus starts with the word breathe. So anyway, so that's the song that reminds me of my best friend. And then More Than Words, I guess, is kind of like the future me's response to her, I guess, in my head. Like, Breathe is how I felt. It reminds me of a time where I was so super heavily leaning on her to keep me together. And then More Than Words is like, always been there for me. Now I'll do the same. So it's in my head. It's kind of like a sequel, I guess, to that feeling of like you were there for me and now, I'm going to be there for you.
So my next one is from Happiness, and it is by Leanne, and it's when she sings, "I swear I'm never gonna lose me again." This is one of those lyrics that I didn't really realize it hit me until I was going back, and I was like, because it's one that I always think about, but I didn't realize how much it actually like hit me until I put it in here and I was like thinking about it. Um, it's just kind of one of those sentences that you kind of need to tell yourself here and there. Words of encouragement, I guess, is what you could say. I don't know. It's just one that I feel like really you need to hear every once in a while or tell yourself, really.
Yes, I do also like that one. Okay, moving on. Last one I did was More Than Words. Next one I have is The Cure. So if you listen to, I don't know, one of the recent episodes of the podcast, I don't remember which one I talked, LM5 album ranking, probably. Uh, The Cure is like a mixed bag for me on how I feel about it. But specifically the lyrical part of the song is a mixed bag for me. But the lyrics that I relate to the most is like Pessy's first part, which is I lost my faith, made my mistakes, gonna find a way to make it easy. I'll be better on my own, believe me. Pain I hold back, can't live like that. In my notes here, I have Perry's last two lines, but to be honest, they're not really, they're in here because it was part of the lyrics I copy and pasted into my notes and not necessarily because I actually uh, want those ones to be in here. Yeah, so for me personally, that like the way I kind of twist that to fit for me is just that, like, kind of like lost faith in myself and fell into some traps and just had to kind of keep going and I'll be better on my own has to do with my family for me and uh, the line "Pain I hold back can't live like that" is something that vaguely reminds me of my depression. So when I try to relate to The Cure, this is the part of the song that I go to.
Completely forgot about that one. That wasn't one of the songs that I had listened to because I just automatically assumed that there was nothing. But yeah, what you said. Um,
Yeah, it's the only part of the song that has something for me. So if any of you guys were like, "Why does she keep putting that in her my favorite moments from the Ellen 5 tour?" That was why.
yeah, those lyrics are definitely ones that hit home a little bit. Not all of them, but like some of the ones that you said.
Yeah, like some of them that you can kind of if you think about it for a second, you kind of twist them and suddenly they start to hit home. They didn't hit home
Yeah,
with me until Pessy started singing them live.
they're ones that used to hit home for me, and then I kind of like somehow I must not have listened to it for like a long period of time. I just completely forgot about. But yeah, now I'm starting to remember like listening to it and be like, oh yeah,
You're like, "Oh, that."
yeah. My next one is I actually have three from My Love Won't Let You Down. The first two go together, and the last one is somewhat similar. So the first one is And You're Wondering Where It All Went Wrong. And then after that, a little bit later in the song, when Leanne says, I know you've been losing the fight, you've been knocked down a million times. Those two, for me, okay, this is going to sound like really dumb, but this when I know like they're supposed to be talking like singing to each other or whoever, but it feels like it's directed at me just because for like the past year that's how I've been feeling. Um just cuz it'll be like, "Oh, something went good. Oh, there it goes." That type of thing. That little cycle. So that when I listen to that song, those are lyrics that stuck out to me. Also, this one when Perry sings, "When there's no one else around, on your last breath calling out." I'm not 100% sure why, but that lyric just sticks in my head a lot. I think a lot of it is like thinking of not so much me, but when other people come to you for stuff and it's like you're the one who's kind of helping them through it or like being like their anchor. Um, that's where that kind of relates a little bit. I'm not really sure, honestly. That's just kind of something that I'm thinking of right now. But for some reason, that lyric sticks out a lot.
So I have okay, so I'm gonna read you guys the whole bit, but there are really only specific lines that I relate to within the whole thing. But just for context sake, this is Confetti. I have two different quotes from Confetti that go right next to each other. Uh, and so it's first starts with Leanne's part of "Should have left your ass." It says "from time ago," and that might be the official lyric, but that never sounded right to me. And then it's "Didn't love me then, but now I do. I used to sit at home and cry for you. Diamonds on my neck, I shine for you. Ain't blocking my blessings anymore. Never be the girl I was before. I'm gonna let the good things in my life rain down." That was the first one, right? It's Lee's bit. And the lines in that I actually want to pull out are "Didn't love me then, but now I do. Ain't blocking my blessings anymore. Never be the girl I was before. I'm gonna let the good things in my life rain down." So basically, all the lines that aren't specific to a relationship is the ones I want to pull out of there um, as just kind of being ones that um, I'm my own worst enemy most of the time, and so a lot of like the stuff I need to work through and the work I need to do on myself is uh, internal and a lot of like issues I have are just me being too hard on myself. And there was actually a quote um, back when I was like a teenager that I really related to that no one else seemed to get, that I think kind of might relate to this maybe, which is that like uh it's not a like I think a lot of people get stuck on the, I can't remember the exact quote. I'm just gonna go for this. So, I think a lot of people get stuck on like the who you're supposed to be thing, and I never got stuck on the who I'm supposed to be thing. I got really stuck on like the who I'm not supposed to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, I wasn't so concerned about like I doing everything right so much as I was concerned with not doing the specific wrong things. And I always kind of also just felt like, oh, if I liked this or did that or talked about these things or whatever, then that wasn't in line with who I am, like this picture of who I thought I was in my head. Uh, and so that was always kind of something I struggled with. And that's all internal. That didn't come from like anyone in my life. That was just something that I was doing to myself and I was enforcing that onto myself. And so that's kind of, I think I've talked about this a lot, which is that I twist little mixed lyrics that are about relationships to fit other things. This is one of those times. The next part of the confetti I just have is the chorus, right? So the from the sky drop like confetti, all eyes on me, so VIP, all of my dreams from the sky drop like confetti. Drop it down, you're missing me, but I'm finally free. I got what I need to let it rain down like confetti. The reason why I included this one is that for me, it's something I need to get better at. I'm not really good at letting good things happen to me. Um, so that's just like that whole concept of like um, I'm gonna accept the good things that happen and I'm gonna put that energy out in the world and like that just type of mentality is not something that I'm currently succeeding in. So, it's just those lyrics are just kind of like a good reminder, I guess, for me to try a bit harder at that.
Confetti was like another song that I didn't look at because, at least not for lyrics that resonate with me, just because I never really thought of any. But it wasn't until you said them that I was like, oh, I've never thought about those in like this way. I don't know.
Yeah.
My next lyric is from Woman's World, and it's when Jade sings, if you've never been told how you gotta be, what you gotta wear, how you gotta speak, if you never shouted to be heard, you ain't lived in a woman's world. That is another lyric that I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to. It's one I definitely can. Um, Especially in parts of my family, that's like a big thing is that like you have to do this, you have to act this way, you have to wear this. So I've definitely been told, oh, don't do that, don't do this. Um, from a lot of different people on parts of my family. So I definitely relate to that. And it's just another one that just hits home.
Yeah, so what was interesting for me is that, I do also like I can also really relate to that lyric, but not as much as I used to relate to that lyric. In the sense that when I had just gone off to college and I had left behind my family in my hometown for the first time, I would have related to that so much. Um, because that is the definition of what was happening to me within my family. But when I went to school and I, I went to one of your snowflake liberal arts colleges, and and I lived in a place that was very I was about to say purple, but we have people from not the US listening to us. Um I lived in like a very like wish-washy, sometimes we're conservative, sometimes we're progressive state. And uh and so which is actually probably like most of the Northeast in general.
Yeah.
um
Oh,
but Anyway, so when I went to school, when I went away to college, that was like a huge learning experience for me to learn about these different types of things like privilege and oppressive systems and systematic oppression and just like feminism in general. Like before I went off to college, I probably wouldn't have identified myself as a feminist, even though I believed in those things. I would have shied away from the word. Um, so it's things like that. And I also was gaslit quite a bit from my family. And so I used to kind of think maybe those things were in my head. Um, so when I went to college and I first was kind of coming to terms with all of this and I was learning, that lyric would have been everything to me. But, you know, I'm a few years out of college. I'm away from my family. I'm away from that toxic situation. I've done some work on myself and the issues that I have from those situations. Um, and I've kind of progressed past that point of feminism um, in like a personal way. Um, which I don't know if I can make that make sense. Like those things still happen to me. I can still relate to those things and those things are still a problem, but my feminism is so much more intricate and more complex than that just because of the different ways that I've learned and participated in it over the years and the way my life has changed over the years and the experiences that I and the people in my life have had that that lyric no longer has as much meaning to me as it would have once had, if that makes sense to anyone.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm still in, because I'm in a very large swing state.
Mm.
Um, oh, I keep forgetting that like not everybody who listens to this is American.
Oh yeah.
Um, a swing state pretty much means it'll either be very conservative or very um, liberal. It just really depends on the year, the situation, that type of thing. And my state is one of the biggest ones. And especially in the area I live in, it is a more conservative area just for whatever reason. And so that is pushed a lot on us, even though the school I went to wasn't that way, or like my high school wasn't that way, but just like the neighboring, I guess, places is kind of like that. Um, so like when you go out in public, you kind of have to be careful of what you wear, or else you'll get catcalled or whatever. So it's that type of thing.
Next one on my list, I have Land's first couple lines of happiness. So, brand new evolution of me ever since I let you go. Finally, I'm learning things I never knew before. For me, that would probably be a feeling that I had right when I went off to college and I left my family behind, and I was kind of um, learning how to live in a less toxic environment, how to interact with people in less toxic ways, learning things about myself as far as like who am I when I'm trapped in a corner and feel unsafe, and who am I, you know, learning to live my life as an adult on my own, doing the things that I want to do. Um, and so for me, that's kind of how that lyric relates. Of course, in the song, it's about a relationship, but for me, it was about just kind of growing up and entering healthier situations.
This next one is one that it sticks with me, even though it's not necessarily related to me. It's from Change Your Life, and it's just the chorus where they go, "We're gonna stick together. No, we'll get through it all." Ignore my dog walking in the back. She's not gonna stop, so I'm just gonna keep going. And it's it kind of when you think about how it reminds me of Little Mix first off because I know that they wrote this together and when you think about when they wrote it since it was like the very beginning of their career and they're like we're going to stick together as long as we're together we'll get through whatever and then when you think of it now it's like they did so it's like kind of one of those that puts a lot of things into perspective and was like well they had all of this going on they still managed to just push through it.
Next off, I have this one is not a pop song, and it's Perry's part, and it's ain't no boy troubles. If that's what you came here for, then you should know that this ain't another pop song about falling in love. I have more of the not a pop song lyrics in different sections that we'll talk about later, but um, that one for me. I just like if like you know what, you know this. I complain about this. I'm sure I've complained about this to you. I complained about it last week on the LM5 album ranking. Um, which is that um not everything is about boys. Not everything is about romantic relationships. Like there are things that happen in your life that are about you, about your family, about your friends, about your wants and desires within yourself and the things you want from life. And like not everything is about romantic love. Not everything is about a boy.
Yes.
Not everything is about falling in love, not everything is about heartbreak, not everything is about sex. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't mean sex like sexual feelings, but like not everything is about sex with another person. You know, sexuality and sex is something that you have to figure out with yourself. And that doesn't necessarily have to include another person, but like the songs that are about like doing sexual things with like another person, like that's not not everything is about that, and not everything is about love, and not everything is about heartbreak, not everything is about a romantic partner or wanting one or having one or losing one. Like I'm repeating myself at this point, I'm getting redundant, but like it's just not everything is about that. And so I'm putting this lyric in here because that is important for everyone to know and realize, and also it's a message we should be sending out to the young ones in our life because they need to know that. Like, I am desperately going to be trying to instill that into my niece and my nephew because, like, they need to know that one person is not going to be your happiness and that they can't be your happiness. There has to be other things in life, and that primary thing has to be you.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely though. This next one is from Secret Love Song Part 2, and it's As You Drive Me to My House, I Can't Stop These Silent Tears from Rolling Down. This is another one of those lyrics where I don't necessarily know why it sticks with me, but it's one that I've always pointed out whenever they've sang the song, whenever I've just listened to it. Um, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, everybody has that time where you're just in one of those moods that you're recreating one of those sad music video moments where you're looking out the window and it's raining. And I feel like this just kind of gives me those vibes.
Mm.
Um, I'm not really sure what it is about it, but it's just one I've always picked up on ever since I've heard the song. So I included it.
Next one I have is Nobody Like You. It's Jesse's bit. So this is the full 4 lines, but I really only kind of want the first one and the last one. So I'll talk about that in a second. So it's I'm alive if living is just a beating heart because we won't admit we've taken it too far. I know it's love because I will always be the first to start making up excuses when it hurts. For me, it's the I'm alive if living is just a beating heart, and I will always be the first to start making up excuses when it hurts. I am someone who, uh, if I reach a breaking point, I will cut people out of my life. Like I have a boundary. Um, I have it with family. I have it with friends. I have it with everyone. And if I reach that boundary, then I don't look back. It just is what it is. It's done. So for me, because of that, I always really, really drag my feet on the way to that boundary. And so, in a relationship when things are kind of souring, I'm always kind of like trying to give as many chances as possible and to excuse it or to explain it away and kind of be like, well, this is one of those parts of a relationship. You just kind of have to wait out. Things evolve, things change. Like relationships are about give and take. And so, like, for me, I'm always kind of like really trying to like hold off getting to that place where eventually I just have to call it. And so, that kind of second portion of the lyric is what I relate to. And then I'm alive if living is just a beating heart is a wonderful depression relation lyric.
And then my next one is from See Me Now, and it is when they sing the chorus. They said I couldn't, they told me that I wouldn't, but if they could see me now, which is kind of what I've said towards the beginning of this, where it's just kind of like you have to just do what you want and just ignore what the people who are trying to bring you back down say. Um,
Really quick insertion here. There are some of, like, the "See Me Now" lyrics specifically, I don't know what you're about to say next. There were some salute lyrics from, like, A Different Beat and "See Me Now" and "Stand Down" that, like, a part of me really wanted to include in the Resonate section, but I didn't, and it's for a similar reason as Woman's World, which is that a few years ago, those lyrics were everything to me, um, but it's almost like I've I haven't outgrown them, like, they still mean a lot to me and I still relate to them, but they're no longer as relevant to me as they once were, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Um, and so I didn't include them for the same reason I didn't include Women's World. But you saying that, I just wanted to quickly throw in that, like, there are lyrics I didn't include in this section simply because I've kind of, um, I guess outgrown is technically the right way to say it. I don't necessarily really love that way to say it because it sounds like I think that, like, I don't need them anymore, which isn't really true. It's just like those aren't the lyrics for the time I'm at in my life right now.
Yeah, I'm still in that.
Mhm.
So these are all very like hitting home, which hopefully they won't in like a few years, like you said, but um, they do definitely right now. Um, this is kind of similar to when it was like the you can't what did I say? You can't feel guilty for being successful, even though I'm not successful like in any means, honestly. But those digs at you where it's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't do that. You won't do that. That's kind of something that motivates me more. Um, so that song has a lot of those in it, and that motivates me. So that's what really hits me. And then the last one I have is "Pretty is Just a Pretty Word" from "We Are Who We Are," and this is just another one of those where I've always thought about it, and it's just one that I just think about a lot. There's not like a specific story or like meaning behind it. It's just one that I think about whenever I hear the song.
And there are definitely ones from this next section, guys, that probably could have moved over into the Resonate section, but I was not as well organized as I should have been, and I'm just gonna own up to that. It happens, guys. Because I've got a cajillion of this next topic, that really I probably should have more evenly spaced out, and I didn't. So, moving on to our next category, which is the lyrics that we think are well written or that are just ones that stand out for us that we remember that we think back on more than others. First up, I have Down and Dirty, of course. And um,
Yes.
yeah, I have Jesse and Lee's parts, so I'm tasty delicious, I'm rough around the edges, my mind is obsessive, my flex is aggressive, glad I didn't listen to my teachers. Teachers teach you not to be a dreamer, I don't mind offending, I ain't about pretending, them haters be hating, my fashion be trending. Now I'm a believer, check out the stamps on my visa, we international divas, but I started out making your pizzas.
Iconic.
Yeah, at first I just love that the lyrics are so specific to the girls, but there's also like little parts of the lyrics that I relate to. Like for instance, I could have taken Jesse's "My mind is obsessive," and I'm rough around the edges, and I could have put that in resonate. Um, but overall, like this is just one that I just like that it's personalized. I really like the song. I like the way they fit into the song.
So my first one is from Case Closed, and it's the chorus where they go, "Got your fingerprints as evidence all on my body." Sorry, I wrote that wrong, so it messed me up. "Put your right hand on the book, and you were found guilty." That one, this song is just really well written in my opinion, and I feel like it was just really well written. Cat, stop. Oh my god, she's clawing things. My dogs are barking and walking around. I'm so sorry. Um,
Like
God.
we said, guys, bear with us.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening tonight. The animals are turning on us. There's planes flying out my window. I don't know. Um, yeah, I think for them being so young to write a song like that, I think is really impressive. And I think they did it really well. So that I could have put like the whole song, but that's just kind of my favorite part of it. So that's the part I included.
I can't actually recall whether or not I included Case Closed on this giant list that I'm scrolling through in an attempt to figure out if I did, and I'm not gonna be able to tell you the answer to that. So I'm just gonna talk on it now like I didn't include it because I should have. Um, which is that, for me, like, the lyric that I agree with everything you said. I think the song, in and of itself is just really powerfully written, and I think I think it's subtle to people who don't know what to listen for. Like, I've seen people react to it who don't make the connection, and it's usually male reactors who don't make the connection, sometime female ones, but, like, if you've had any type of experience with abuse, I think, or, like, toxic relationships, then this, I think, comes across really powerfully. As far as my next one, I actually lied to you guys because I have Jade's verse of Down and Dirty written down as well, and the reason for that, I'm just gonna fly by it to get to the next one because I already know I have more than her, so I don't need to spend more
Yeah.
time going over them. But for this one, I just like the like little clever sayings. Like I like the Daenerys reference. I like the mirror mirror on the wall reference. I like the clap back at like the tabloids and like the rumor mill. Like they want to know who I'm sneaking into my place. They don't need to know no one's business how I play. I just like the clap back and like the references. I think it's cute. But my next one outside of Down and Dirty is, Back to Nobody Like You. This one I don't doesn't resonate with me as much as the other ones, Jesse's portion of it, but I really like this lyric, which is why it's over here rather than over there. And it's Lan's one of Lan's parts, and it is strong a side of me you never found because you only see me when my guard is down, and it's wrong, and I hate that it's the truth, but I only like myself when I'm with you. And I think that's just like a really powerful lyric and almost something really powerful to admit within the song that maybe you wouldn't notice initially listening to it. But like to admit to yourself and to someone else, but I mean, even really like just to yourself to say to yourself and admit to yourself that you're hiding behind a relationship and you're clinging to someone because you only like who you are with them and you don't actually like yourself for you, and that, like, because of that, because of the fact that you don't like yourself, that person only ever sees, like, the worst parts of you. Not to necessarily say that when your guard is down, that's the worst parts of you, but, if someone only ever sees you when you're clingy and needy and sad and, um, angry and, if someone only ever sees those parts of you, they're not gonna really get to see any of the positives. So those things themselves aren't inherently bad, but if it's all anyone ever sees from you, if it's all you ever give to the relationship, then it kind of ends up turning into, as a whole, kind of the worst part of you. And so I always just think that's really powerful.
That song is just so good
The whole song.
too. Like, that's another one I have on the list of like the entire song. um, so my next one is from Little Me, and this lyric, I feel like here I'll read it first. It's the yeah, you got a lot of time to act your age. You can't write a book from a single page. Hands on the clock only turn one way. And I feel like that lyric goes overlooked a lot of the time because people are so focused on like the chorus and how meaningful that part is. But I feel like this lyric was just really well written because it gives you a new I don't want to say perspective, but it gives you a new way to look at time from three different examples, and that just keeps going, and that you can't stop it. Um, and so I just feel like that part. I included that part specifically because even though I could have included like the actual chorus, I just feel like it goes kind of like under the rug because people are so focused on like the chorus of that song and like all the other parts and like the Paris high note at the end when there's actually a lot more lyrics in there, like the verses that are really powerful.
Yeah, people always forget about the verses in songs. Like, the
Yeah.
choruses very rarely are the best lyrics of a song.
Yeah.
And then my next one would be, I tried to smile today, then I realized there's no point anyway. I mean, there's not really too much to explain with this. I have depression. This is a feeling I can relate to. Um, it's not one that ever like hit home the way I would have wanted it to in order to put it in the previous column that we just had. I'm calling it column, guys, because that's the way my notes are set up. So in case you're confused, that's why. Um, but yeah, so it's something I kind of logically relate to and that I like as a lyric, but for some reason didn't quite do it for me on a personal level. So that is that one. So she is having a bunch of things interrupting her, so I'm gonna keep going while she deals with that. So my next one would be "Tell Me, Does It Scare You That I'm Living My Dream?" Pretty sure that's Perry in Competition, and I just like that one. I like that it kind of touches on this concept that um, in a relationship with the people you love and the people in your life, sometimes there can be conflict or tension from one person making a lot of progress with their dreams and another person maybe still stuck in a rut or not quite where they want to be. And then another one would be good enough. Seems like I never compare. Wouldn't notice if I disappear. You stole the love that I saved for myself, and I watched you give it to somebody else. That one doesn't quite hit home for me the way the other good enough lyrics do, but I still really like that line specifically. You stole the love that I saved for myself and I watched you give it to somebody else. I think it's a really important thing that when you look at toxic relationships like that, part of the issue, right, is that they're not just taking away their love, right? Like they're taking away your love for yourself. They're taking away a lot of like self worth that maybe you used to have, or confidence, or however you want to phrase it. And then you watch them take that, and they don't even kind of keep it. Like you can literally see them now turn that attention onto someone else, and for that person to kind of blossom. I always like really liked that line, like "you stole the love that I saved for myself," and so I put it on here in this section.
That's such a powerful line.
Yeah, right.
Like, it really is.
I have another good enough one, which is really sad. But then after that, I have a happy one from Strip. um, and so the other one I have from Good Enough is Perry's part, "Release your curse, because I know my worth. Those wounds you made are gone. You ain't seen nothing yet. Your love worth in, and I never win. You want the best. So sorry, that's clearly not me. Oh, this is all I can be." I do think it's a really powerful one, and I do kind of like the double sidedness of it, and that's how a lot of the song is, right? So like sorry for how my life turned out, sorry for the life I'm living now, guess I'm still not good enough. There's a lot of that kind of flip-flopping in the song that I really enjoy, because I think that it's a good realistic balance of the emotional turmoil you feel while trying to get over that type of I don't even want to call it a situation, because at that point it's like a state of mind. This idea of like you can be starting to try to get out of it by realizing that you're better off, and it's not your fault, and all of these things, but there's this other side of it, right? That like in Perry's line, right? "You want the best, so sorry, that's clearly not me." It's this double edged sword. Then it's also, "This is all I can be." So it's kind of like, take me as I am, like this is who I am. And then earlier, she says, "I know my worth," but then it's, "I never win." And so I just like that kind of double edged sword that a lot of Good Enough has, but especially in Perry's part right here.
Okay, so my next one could fall into the iconic within the fandom category, but I left it in this one because I feel like it's a really, really clever lyric, and it's one that was really thought out, and it's from FU, and it is the ABCDEEE
I put it
FU.
in classics. I put it in classics.
Yeah. Okay, so we're good. We both. It's just like, whoever thought of that, kudos to you, because it is so clever. And it's just that, like, that little stab at whoever it is they're talking about. Um and it's just like how it goes slowly, and then it's like, haha, just kidding, F you. So yeah, I put that in well written just because of how clever it was, even though it probably should be an icon.
Next one I have is from Strip, and it is "Love who you wanna, don't give a damn if it's a man or a woman. Wanna talk about color, it's the skin that I'm in, yeah, I get from my mama." I feel like that's a really underrated one. Like, I feel like I'm the only one that really likes that lyric.
No,
Um,
I love that part.
Okay, like, I just, like, especially, like, I mean, also the vocals on it, like, the way the harmonies are like, the way it's arranged, I just think is really nice, but then also in, like, the
Mhm.
video, the way it cuts to all their different families and stuff, I just think obviously that's not lyrics, but, like, it added to my love of it, and, and I don't know, I just really like that, and I like that it was included. Sometimes I do feel like Little Mix aren't the best at being inclusive in their lyrics, and in that and I'm talking everyone's about to get mad at me, I can feel it. Um, and I'm specifically talking about, like, what I've said before, which is that songs that only mention, like, a gender or a sex once, and it's because one girl said the word boy in a verse, and it's like if you had just not said that word, then that song could have been gender neutral and could have applied to any type of romantic relationship. It could have applied to any person who maybe doesn't identify as he or she, but because you've added the one boy into the song, it's no longer that type of inclusivity. Now those people can't relate to it; they have to twist it, and I mean, I've said it again, like, having to twist songs to fit what you're going through in life kinda just really sucks, like, you just want there to be songs that you can relate to without having to twist the meaning in order to get something from it, and so there are a lot of songs like that that Little Mix have that have the potential to be more inclusive without being, so in your face inclusive, which this one is more of an in your face inclusive, but, it was just lines that I really appreciated because I feel like sometimes some of the other songs, don't get their full potential with their inclusivity, so I just really liked that they threw in this one here, in order to kind of throw on top of the body positivity they were already talking about.
Yeah, that's one I never really thought about, until you started mentioning it, and I feel like it just that just brings, like, so much more to the song because it's already such, like, a motivational, powerful song, and then once you add that, it's like, "Okay, here we go."
I'm gonna keep going because I have more than you do. Um, this one's actually really quick, so I'm gonna double up. Um, Guys, I have so many more than she does,
Yeah.
um, which is why we're doing it like this.
I thought I
Um
had a lot, and then I was like, "Oh, never mind."
Um, the next one I have is from Joan of Arc. I think it's Shadesy that sing it, and it's "If I'm loving you, it's because I can." Actually, does Lee sing it too? Lee might sing it too. And I just like, I mean, the whole song has like kind of your classic empowering, very like Destiny's Child vibe. I really liked this line. Like, and I think the line right before it is like, "If I'm like, it's like I don't need a man if I'm loving you, it's because I can." The "I don't need a man" thing again has that gender switch on it, but it is like a feminist song, and so you are putting gender. Anyway, that doesn't matter. The whole point is that I really like this concept, whether it's a man or a woman, of like, I don't need you, right? Like, if I'm choosing to love you, it's because I can, it's because I want to, it's not because I have to or because I need you. And I feel like that sentiment sometimes gets skewed or lost or isn't present in a lot of pop songs. And then to double up, my next one is More Than Words. It's Perry's part, and it's the part of the song where they're putting in little Easter eggs with Camille, and that's you turned disaster into a dream, gave me the power, made my life brand new. When the world tried to break us, we found magic, and we grew stronger through every line. So turned disaster into a dream. A shout to my ex, gave me the power. Power made my life brand new. Magic tried to break us. We found magic, black magic, and so I really like that they kind of snuck those Easter eggs in.
I never caught on to that. I'm so shook right now. I've listened to how long has this song been out? 2 years? Oh my god. I've never anyways. Okay, I'm so sure. Okay. Um, my next one is Strip, and I didn't include what you said mainly because I was listening to the song, heard this lyric, and was like, "Ooh, I want to use that," and then turned the song off before it got to that part, so I forgot about it. Um, but it's when Jade says, "Say we're too provocative, so look at me, look at me, look at me." And I just love how they have like that little dig at like all the tabloids and like all the people who call them out of. being inappropriate in like what they wear and now what even is it what they sing. Also the Daily Mail, God,
Yes,
Daily
yes,
Mail
yes, I have
written
that in iconic. I have that in iconic.
Mañana a la noche. Yes, I love it. That Daily Mail, it's always them.
And Notice, I like Jesse's lyric. This one has actually just kind of reappeared for me. Like, I just have kind of noticed this one. Or not noticed it, but like I've just started thinking about it. So I'm gonna give context, but it's the second line that I like, which is "Boy, open invitation, take me down, not covered up and laced to wait around." If you listen to the Ellen 5 album ranking, you know how I feel about Notice. I don't know. There's just something about that lyric that recently has been hitting different for me.
Yeah, that's a good one. I never really thought about that one until you said it.
Oh wait, hang on. I have more Notice. Okay, hang on.
Okay.
The next one for Notice I have is pretty sure this is the chorus. I don't think you notice, I don't think you care, I don't think you notice, so what's the point of wearing nothing if you never notice there's sex in the air? I don't think you notice, what's the point of wearing nothing if you never notice? Um and I just like that. I like like the explicit reference to sex, which is not explicit, but for Little Mix it is. I like that it's just like out there with that line. And then I also like, again, like I like this frustration in the song. Like the sound of the song is very sexy, but the lyrics are just like very, very frustrated. And not even that I keep like, yes, sexually frustrated, but like this is also like frustration in a relationship with like, I this is like a communication issue. This is like an attention issue. This is a like like not self appreciation. This is like an appreciation issue within a relationship, that you feel invisible to your partner sexually. And then if you're feeling that like that this way about it, and that means that there's a connection issue, which means that you're also feeling a bit invisible emotionally as well, that they're not noticing that you're upset with the way things are going. And so anyway, so the whole song I think is just has a lot of intricacies, and really deals with like intimate things like that pretty well, especially considering it's very much like a 50 Shades type of song.
This is one of the lyrics that probably should go in iconic, but I went a little bit over, so I put it into here. And it's from Wasabi, and it's Jessie when she goes, she ain't wearing no clothes when she going solo. I bet
I
they
put it
gonna
in
break up.
iconic.
Yeah. But what the hell do you know? Um, I just, it's once again just one of those digs at all the haters that I just love.
My next one is from Happiness, and it's "I was searching for happiness, I was using you to fill up my loneliness. Realized from the moment I set you free, I found the love in me." What I really like about this lyric is that it it's like self-aware. So it's a lot of people actually don't ever get to this point when they get out of relationships. You're not getting into relationships for the right reason. Like you're trying to use someone else to make you happy instead of being happy within yourself. And so I really like this self-awareness aspect of like I broke up with someone and then I realized that like I wasn't doing this right. I just like that. I don't need to go on about it forever. Hang on, let me count how many I still have. Oh wait, this is a happiness one. Okay. And then I have Jade sings this. Remember I was mine before I was yours. I really like that as too. I feel like there's too much kind of ownership sometimes that happens in romantic relationships, especially like when it gets to like an unhealthy place, maybe like when there's like a breakup looming or something. And so I feel like that's such an important thing to remember, that like you are your own person outside of that relationship, and that your relationship with you has to come before it. Next one I have is from Not a Pop Song, and it is just the chorus, right? So this ain't another pop song about falling in love or a party song about drinks and drugs. No more singing songs about breaking my heart and lonely nights dancing in the dark. If I'm a guilty pleasure, I want this life forever. I'll take it all because anything is better than another pop song about falling in love. I'm gonna say I'm pretty sure that I meant to include Jesse's lyric here, and I didn't.
Wait, is
Um,
it the said we'll make it if we fake it?
Um, yeah.
I have that next.
Okay, perfect. I'll wait to s I won't say anything on that one, I'll just say something on this.
Okay.
Um, so there's a lot of different things I actually like about this chorus. I wish I sonically liked the song more, because I just like the lyrics so much of this. I just wish that it was slightly different sonically, but it's fine, lyrics are more important. So, to me, they are, I bet a bunch of you just disagreed. Um, So I like my constant complaint forever, and any friend I've ever had will tell you that like I literally have a playlist that's like named like not love. Like it's all the songs
Me
that I
too.
like know and like that are not about romantic relationships. And so I really liked that it was kind of calling this out and it was like, yeah, like I'm not singing any more songs about you breaking my heart or like that I'm falling in love with you. Like I'm done with that. And then of course the if I'm a guilty pleasure, I want this life forever. That's like taken from Jesse. And then the next line, I'll give you guys my interpretation of it. If I'm a guilty pleasure, I want this life forever. I'll take it all because anything is better. The way I personally interpret that, and I've seen people interpret it differently, is that like if I'm your guilty pleasure, like I want the life I'm living so much that like I'll take it, I'll take that. You know what I mean? Like it's almost kind of like a resignation lyric in a sense. Like I don't want to be your guilty pleasure, but if I am, like I'll take that because I want this life. And so that's kind of how I interpret that. And I like that kind of bittersweetness to it.
So my next, I guess there's two lines are actually from Not a Pop Song too, um, and I was gonna include the chorus, but I didn't because I already had two, so I didn't want to like make it too long. But I have said to follow any dream, be a puppet on a string, and I really like the line. I feel like it almost contradicts itself because it's like you want to do what you want, you can be whatever you want, but in order to be that you have to follow some other guideline that you don't necessarily want to, because even though you might be living your dream, you're also living someone else's dream who's trying to control it how they want it. So that's how I've always seen that lyric. Um, and then the next one is said we'll make it if we fake it. And I love how even though this isn't like part of the lyrics in the song, she like kind of fades out a little bit when she says it. It's like it gives me like the feeling of her almost like briefly mentioning it, but like not getting too into it. It's like the when you add some like I don't want to say like a petty comment, but when you add like a slight like dig at the very end of a sentence, and you're like, okay, and
Like,
I
I'm
just
just
really
gonna leave
like
it here.
that. Yeah, like I just love that. So my next one is Sweet Melody, and I just put the in a whole nother life there was this boy that I knew, but really it's the whole song, and it's not even like the lyrics, but it's almost like the format of how it's written, and it if you really think about it, it's like a story. It's like a little like
Yes,
letter.
the storytelling. I love the
Yeah,
storytelling. I wish Little Mix did more storytelling.
yeah, it's like because then when she goes anyway he was in a band, it's like it feels like she's like just talking to her friend or whatever. Like it's just I love when songs are written like that, and so that's what made it into this. So I have Woman's World. I didn't tag it. I just noticed that, but it is when they sing if you can't see that it's got to change, only want the body and not the brains. Um, I I mainly put this one here because the other or other verse I put in the other category, and I was like, okay, I need something in this category from the same song, so I use that one. But what I like about it is that the song has like it almost has three-ish elements to it, so it's like them talking about their personal experience and like well loose quotations on personal but like being told
Generalized female experience.
yeah, and then kind of like imagining like the future when it's like the talking to like their kids and stuff, and then it's the addressing the problem that it's still happening. So I liked how they brought it back, and it's like the if you can't see that it's got to change, so they're stating that it's still not where it should be. And so I liked how they included that into it when like the other parts of the song was talking about something different, but it's still the same topic. I just put the chorus from Freak. It's the I've got two sides of me, the one you want your mother to meet and the one that's a freak. Um, that lyric specifically, I mean, the whole song is like good
I
for me
will
because in
stand by the
parentheses,
whole song from a writing standpoint forever.
yeah, in parentheses I put all, but um, I feel like originally when I had first listened to the song, or like before I even clicked on it, I wasn't sure what to expect. It was one of those songs where it's like it could be this, but it also could be that. It was almost like stripped. Like I was expecting something else, and then it was something that like it was just way better than what I was expecting, just by like the title of it. And yeah, so I like how they use the whole like I've got two sides of me instead of it being I thought it was gonna be more of like a Madhouse type of
Mm.
song, which I would have been fine with because I love that song, but I'm happy that it was something different.
I
Um
also kind of like that instead of it being like, I like that it's like I've got 2 sides of me rather than like you've got 2 sides of you, which is usually like the cheating storyline, right? Like they're
mhm.
two-faced. And
Yeah.
instead, like, it's kind of like a switch. It's like, "No, I'm two-faced."
Yeah,
Like,
it's like admitting to it.
yeah, it's like, "You're cheating on me, but, like, I'm the one that's got 2 sides." Um,
Yeah. Yeah, and like how easy it can be just to flip that switch and turn that side on.
yeah, and then, I really like the pre-chorus too, and then I put Jade's bridge in iconic, so I won't say anything about it.
I didn't put the bridge in iconic, good thing you did.
I like
um
Jesse's part of the bridge too, but Jade's I think is iconic, and so I put Jade's in iconic.
Same. Yeah. Um, and then my last one is once again another one that is pretty much the whole song, but it is "Here We Go Again," another breakup, makeup, when you gonna wake up from Boy. Um, that song gives me the same format almost as Sweet Melody, where it's going through a whole storyline. I said that really weird storyline, and it's like addressing the beginning, like here we go again. It's gonna happen all over again. Um, and then you kind of get to that like, don't you know you set the tone type of situation where it's like trying to give them that pep talk to get up the courage and do it. And then has the see what you're worth girl at the end, and it's kind of like you're fine, you're gonna be fine. So I feel like that song is just another one of those. It just gives a nice story, so it all goes together. It's not like just random words to like rhyme. I feel like it gives an actual like storyline to follow.
Classics. I have A, B, C, D, E, F, U.
I have motorbike.
I feel like we're gonna overlap a lot in iconic.
We definitely are.
I have just because 'cause you're packing back and whoop down south, that don't mean I'm ever gonna take it lying down.
I have beep beep. Awa.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I have Jesse's rap in Power. Specifically,
Oh,
I have, Start my engine, push the button because 'cause I'm gonna be coming first. I feel like everyone overlooks the fact that that's very sexual.
yeah. I definitely did. Um, I meant to put that one. Instead, I put Leanne's rap and going nowhere. I feel like that still applies though.
Okay, I have Jade's Bridge. There's emotions you ain't seen. Be your nightmare or your queen. Go ahead, bad boy, live your dream. Don't come crawling back to me. I was gonna attempt to do it, but I can't.
It's a great one. I have the Bada Bang Bang from Forget You Not because I that's it just it makes the song honestly.
I have 2 from Woman Like Me, and it's just Leslie's verse, so I always say what I'm feeling. I was born without a zip on my mouth. Sometimes I don't even mean it. It takes a little while to figure me out, and I like my coffee with 2 sugars in it, high heels and my jewelry dripping, drink, and I get all fired up. I just feel like those 2 verses, like, just relate to Leslie so perfectly.
Hmm. So I also have that, and then I have to add on to it insecure, but I'm working with it, which is what you mentioned earlier, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't hear it because I didn't have room. So yeah. I have, but I started on making your pizzas in Down and Dirty because iconic, like
Yes.
iconic. I have the slaving in the kitchen, iced you a
Oh,
cake.
yeah, I meant to include that.
Yeah, then I served you a plate, but I only okay, yeah, everybody knows that. But yeah, I included that one mainly because I was imagining the interview where they were having Jade read the lyrics like just in
Just, like,
monotone.
cold read them.
Yeah, and I was dying laughing, so I included that.
Definitely iconic. I have "Make Way for the GODDESS, I spare no enemies in this dress," and then I have the rest of Jade's part, and the "Uh-huh, uh-huh," which, by the way, let me just say, like, in the studio version and in the Joan of Arc Apple, I love the second "Uh-huh." It's, like, so, like, nasty um, in the sound of it, like, it's so, like I don't know, I really love how she does it in the studio and in the Apple Music version. I wish she had kept it up more, on the LM5 tour. And then she just says, right, like, "I make myself feel sexy, fan of myself, I'm standing myself, I love me so much, I put my hands on myself."
I also have the fan of myself. I'm standing myself, because it's iconic. It's on the fan that they
Mhm.
sell. Yeah. I'm also just realizing that one I wrote down just disappeared and I don't know where it is, so I have to rewrite it. Okay.
I have another Joan of Arc one, which is "Oh, you on that feminist tip, hell yeah, I am." Okay, I specifically also just need to mention that when Jade did her behind the scenes LM5 thing, she mentioned the lyric was originally, I think, like, maybe I'm getting it wrong, but I think originally it was like, "Oh, you that feminist bitch, hell yeah, I am." And they changed it, and then she was like, "I still don't know what a feminist tip is." Like, and I was like, "Girl, same." Like, and
Yeah.
I wish they had been allowed to swear because "Oh, you that feminist bitch" is so much better.
Yeah.
So I'm
Um,
including it because A, it's iconic, but B, in my head, it's really "Oh, you that feminist bitch."
yeah. I have next in Salute. It's just like the get your killer heels, sneakers, pumps, or lace up your boots, just because it's one that's really well known.
Okay, but the whole wasabi, uh, I have 2 wasabis. Yeah, I have 2 wasabis. I put the whole wasabi chorus, like the "stick like toffee, sip like coffee, wake up, change your mind and drop me, love to hate me, crazy shady, spit me out like hot wasabi, lick me up, I'm sweet and salty, mix it up and down my body, love to hate me, praise me, shame me, either way you talk about me."
Uh-uh.
Um, and the whole thing is just iconic, and then I also have Jesse's, like, "I love the way you talk about me, look how far it got me, the shit the papers write about me, I fold it up like origami, like she ain't wearing no clothes when she going solo, I bet they gonna break up, what the hell do you know?" Jesse's part hits a little bit differently now,
Yeah.
um, however, still iconic.
Yeah, it really is. This is one that a lot of people like, so I included it. It's the I don't do it Simon Says, get the message because it's red. I have I like this one. It's the in a mess when they go, I guess, no hard feelings. I love that line. It's just so petty and I love it. And I feel like that's a one that's recently been used a lot in posts. Um and so I included it.
Okay, this technically, like, doesn't count, but I included it anyway, and it's the "Do-do-do's" in Sweet Melody.
Yes.
You know, I feel like they're already iconic, and I know technically it's, like, not a special lyric or really a lyric at all, but, like, I'm including it, it's happening.
Yeah, it's there. It needs to stay. I have this is kind of cheating a little bit because it's Nicki Minaj's verse and not theirs. Um, and it's the my daddy is Indian, swish all this curry. And I mainly put that in there is because in the Apple Music Q&A, I think is what it was. There was a guy who answered the question or asked a question and he got called on and he was like, by the way, and he like sang the lyric and like was like, by the way, my dad's also Indian, swish all this curry. And it was just really funny. I feel like that was something that lasted on like the fandom for a few days when it happened. So I don't
Mhm.
it's not as talked about much now, but at the time it was like really, really iconic.
Okay, I have Legend of the Four Divas next.
I forgot about that one. I have Over It from Shout Out to My Ex. Like no even context before that, just Over It.
Wait, the wait, Perry's, like, took 4 years to call it
Call
quits?
it quits.
Yeah, I think that's iconic. Took
Yeah,
4 long years.
honestly,
Yeah, yeah.
that whole song.
Sorry, I didn't
Um,
mean to interrupt you.
no, you're good. Yeah, it needs to be on here. It's iconic. I'm saying iconic a lot, but it is.
Well, this
We've
is
named
the
the
iconic
category.
section.
It is.
I also have the Perry's whole thing, right? He would lie, he would cheat over syncopated beats. I was just his tiny dancer. He had control
Yes.
of my feet. That's when he came along. That's when I lost the groove. There was no song in the world to sing along or make me move.
I almost included that and I ran out of room. This one, it's in Down and Dirty, even though they bleep it out. And it's when Perry goes, fuck that, get down and dirty. Um, it's just, I just love that. This is my last one, and it's in the beginning. This one isn't more of like, I mean, I think it's iconic. It's more of like just, you'll see. It's from the beginning where they turn to strangers into closest friends. That's one that I feel like a lot of people reference, and it's also kind of like a classic one.
Yeah, so I think that kind of wraps us up,
Yeah.
finally. Uh,
3 hours
and
later.
I know this was kind of a rough one to get through. We had, quite the rough start of the first hour and a half. We've been recording for a very long time. Wow, we've been recording for, like, 3.5 hours. Such a rough start, like, we had the giggles, the animals were just a mess, like, it was so bad. Um,
Maybe look for a blooper reel after this if you're feeling up to it.
this was a rough one, but I had fun doing it. I hope you guys liked listening to us. Obviously, we definitely missed some, so you can comment them down below. But we had fun, and, uh, as always, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.